As lengthy as the runtime was for Avengers Infinity War, there's still more of the movie we didn't see, and directors Joe and Anthony Russo have indicated that fans can expect plenty of bonus material to come in the take-home copies of the film. Although they've yet to spell out exactly which deleted and extended scenes could be included, they, along with the film's cast, have shared a few hints about what might be missing from the movie's theatrical version. Here's a look at some of the Avengers Infinity War scenes that might make the DVD extras, and a few that may never see the light of day. Guardians get silly. One missing scene the Russo brothers have promised involves the Guardians of the Galaxy flexing their funny bones. Anthony Russo told Entertainment Weekly, "It's a scene where they're sort of stuck. There's a point in the movie where they're stuck without knowing what to do. It was really fun and it was very endearing to us, but because the movie is so big and so propulsive, it just wasn't quite pushing us where we needed to go." That description indicates this is an extension of the scene on Nowhere when Peter Quill, Drax, and Mantis are duped by Thanos' Reality Stone trickery and left to fester on the broken planet. Russo confirmed as much in a later interview with comicbook.com, saying, "It's at that moment in the movie where they have lost Gamora to Thanos in the Nowhere and they don't know what to do about it. They don't know where to go, they have no idea what to do, and it serves as this very absurd scene about the Guardians not knowing what to do that's very, very funny." In other words, expect to see some more humor from the Star-Lord that might help make fans less mad at him.
Wow.
Pepper and Company in the park. In one of the earliest scenes from Infinity War, Tony Stark can be seen taking a walk with his lady love Pepper Potts as the two discuss his dream about her being pregnant before he runs off to deal with Thanos' looming threat. That exchange may have been a mere primer for what's to come between the two in Avengers 4, but it was also an abbreviated version of what was actually filmed. Screenplay co-writer Christopher Marcus told GameSpot that there were a lot more people who joined the fray for that scene, saying, "We shot an unbelievably long version of Tony and Pepper in the park that features cameos. It was sort of Robert and his friend's day at the park. Judging from behind-the-scenes footage taken during the shoot, Happy may be one of the missing persons we can expect to see in the fuller version."
Go team, yeah!
Hulkbuster smash? Much has been made of the fact that Bruce Banner was unable to transform into the Hulk on cue in Avengers Infinity War, but there may be reason to believe that another version of the film might have featured Hulk going berserk in the Hulkbuster suit. While we know that the trailer's big tracking shot was made specifically to mislead audiences about what was to come on the Banner Hulk front in the Battle of Wakanda, there are other glimpses from the trailer that seem to indicate some Hulk smashing as well. For example, there's a moment in the first trailer when Bruce is shown standing next to a broken version of the Hulkbuster suit, looking a little embarrassed. Although there's no official indication that a Hulk in the Hulkbuster suit scene was shot, the fact that Funko Pop released a toy version of the Green Giant breaking through the red getup has led some fans to believe it points to yet another scene that didn't make the final cut of the film, but might find its way into your home copy. Now, let's talk about a few of those scenes that were thought up but never produced. A Civil War reunion. Perhaps the most disappointing aspect of Avengers Infinity War is that it didn't fully resolve the conflict between Iron Man and Captain America. Sure, there's a détente between the two that comes up by way of flip phone, but the two don't share the screen, even though they're fighting for the same team again. According to co-writer Stephen McFeely, however, at least one draft of the film script would have brought them back together at last. He told Yahoo Movies, "Our first sort of wonky draft featured the idea that they had to get back in the same room together. That meant you're slowing down your Thanos Stones plot to deal with threads from other movies. As much as we wanted to do it, and as many times as we wrote those scenes, it became clear that this movie needed to be propulsive and be about Thanos and what he represented to the Avengers." It's not over yet, however, and Joe Russo has teased that Captain America Civil War contains a big hint about what's to come in Avengers 4. So, now that Iron Man has been left alone on Titan, perhaps the next film will finally bring their face-to-face scene to fruition.
Let's go.
The Power Stone. While Avengers Infinity War showed how Thanos acquired most of the Infinity Stones, we didn't get to see him claim the Power Stone, which had previously been left in the care of the Nova Corps on Xandar. According to McFeely, the scene was originally written into the film, but had to be edited out of the working script for the sake of streamlining the story. As he explained to Yahoo Movies, "I do remember, there was a Xandar draft, and it just became unwieldy. It's lovely to go back to a small part of Guardians of the Galaxy and explore how you get that stone, but we had to eventually economize." So instead of seeing the Mad Titan destroy that planet, we only get to hear about it secondhand. Similarly, fans also never get to find out exactly how he snagged the Reality Stone, because the Guardians don't arrive until after he's collected the ether from the Collector. The next chapter. Since Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4 are two parts of one overarching narrative, there was bound to be at least a little confusion over which scenes were filmed for which movies, and some of the cast's interviews reflect as much. Or do they? There have been several instances of Avengers stars discussing production on scenes we haven't seen yet.
Did you thrust your hand toward someone wearing like a blue suit with ping pong balls glued on it?
Yes.
Then you still have powers.
One of the biggest points of confusion seems to center around whether a giant group scene would be included in Infinity War or the next film.
I think in one particular scene there's like 32 of us. There's a lot. There's so many of us. I don't even know who's a Marvel character and who's like a crew member.
Mark Ruffalo implied that he'd worked with Tilda Swinton and Cate Blanchett, which made folks believe the Ancient One and the Goddess of Death would make an appearance at some point. And Sebastian Stan said it included everyone from Nick Fury to Janet Van Dyne. Even the Russos seemed to be confused about where it'd end up. They agreed there'd be a Civil War airport-sized scene in Infinity War, with Joe Russo saying, "We have like an equivalent that's like, you know, if you had a comic book and you open it up to your double panel and then you fold it out and then you folded it out again and again? Since nothing like that came through in Infinity War, we just have to believe it's being reserved for round 4 instead. But we'll have to wait till next year to find out for sure."
Boom!
Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.